I wanted to make a video on the gear I use for different modes with the Dualie Squelchers, so here it is. First, let's go over the standard gear for a Dualie Squelcher user. Main power-up increases the damage for all dualies, but it sees the most use on the Dualie Squelchers because it can make the damage output up to 99.9 damage. For this, you need 3 mains and 6 subs of main power-up, which leaves you with 3 slots for the other gear. Not too much to work with. The most common subs you'll see on this weapon, other than the main power-up, is Bomb Defense, Ink Resistance, and Ink Saver main. The Bomb Defense is useful for reducing damage taken against bombs, but it also reduces the time you're affected by trackers and reduces damage from certain specials such as Inkjet. The Ink Resistance is useful because since you're using dualies, chances are you're rolling into the enemy ink while you're facing them. The Ink Resistance delays you getting damaged by their ink, which can prevent something like a bamboo from one-shotting you immediately. And the Ink Saver main is useful for conserving ink since the dualies run out quickly. A lot of people even opt for a 99.6 damage build and add an additional sub of Ink Saver main to have more ink to work with. Without Ink Saver main, you have about 7 rolls. With 1 sub of Ink Saver main, you still have 7 rolls, but with a bit more ink towards the end. And with 2 subs of Ink Saver main, you have about 8 rolls, which is why it's optimal. Now I'm going to go through the gear I use for each mode. First is Tower Control. For both Dualie Squelchers, I can choose from 3 different builds. The standard 99.6 damage build with Bomb Defense, Ink Resistance, and 2 subs of Ink Saver main, so that I have more ink to work with. The 99.9 damage build with Bomb Defense, Ink Resistance, and Quick Super Jump so I can get back to the tower quicker, or the 99.9 damage build with Bomb Defense and 2 subs of Ink Resistance, since I think Ink Resistance is pretty useful on this weapon. I know I have some builds with no Ink Saver main, which isn't the best thing for this weapon, but I always make sure to keep an eye on my ink tank. For Clan Blitz, I use the same gear for both Squelchers, which consists of either the 99.6 standard build or the 99.9 Bomb Defense, Ink Resistance, and Quick Super Jump build, so that I can jump with the big clan faster. Sometimes for these 2 modes, I'll also do 99.6 damage with Bomb Defense, Ink Resistance, Ink Saver main, and Sub Saver for the custom Dualie Squelchers, so I can use my bombs a bit more. Now for Splat Zones and Rainmaker, it's a bit different for the custom Dualie Squelchers. For these modes, the chances of you or the enemy team getting the objective to the 50 mark or lower earlier on in the game is higher than the other modes, and because of this, I like to use Last Ditch Effort. For those of you that don't know, Last Ditch Effort starts taking effect once the enemy team takes the objective past the 50 mark, and maxes out once they reach the 30 mark. At max, it gives you 8 subs each of Ink Saver main, Sub Saver, and Ink Recovery. Now this is extremely useful for the custom Dualie Squelchers, since they're always low on ink and you can't throw bombs too often. It also allows them to be played how they're meant to be played, but only if you hit the requirements for Last Ditch Effort. Since Last Ditch Effort takes up a main slot, we have to accommodate by putting main power up in every other slot available in order to maintain 99.9 damage. This leaves no space for anything else. However, with my Last Ditch Effort build, I use a 99.6 damage build because I think it's important to always have 1 sub of Bomb Defense. Now you may be thinking, why did I have that build for Tower Control that had 1 sub of Bomb Defense and 2 subs of Ink Resistance if I'm choosing Bomb Defense over Ink Resistance? Well, that's simply because, although I believe Bomb Defense is crucial in any build and on any weapon you use, you really only need 1 sub of it. Now for the vanilla Dualie Squelchers, I'll still go with the 99.6 standard build, because the sub doesn't take up a ton of ink, and you can get the missiles quicker, which can also refill your ink tank. The custom Dualie Squelchers still take a long time to get their special, and splat bombs take up much more ink, so the Last Ditch Effort is more useful to the CDS than the VDS. Overall, I think it's important that you try and use at least 1 sub of Bomb Defense and Ink Resistance, as well as the main power build on the Dualie Squelchers. Although it is a lot of MPU, it's unfortunately the reality that we have to deal with ever since main power-up was introduced. I don't think it should have increased damage on any weapon, and it definitely changed the meta. I used the custom Dualie Squelchers before MPU was in the game, and I enjoyed being able to use ink with leniency. But I do appreciate main power-up making the weapon more viable. Thanks for watching!